Hello everybody and welcome to my Midnight Texas Season 1 episode by episode recap. This video includes 10 videos of my episode by episode recaps and reviews, so if you've seen these individually you really don't need to watch this, but this puts them all in one place and can act as a recap before Midnight Texas returns in late October 2018. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 1 recap and review. So we are introduced to the main character named Manfred, who can speak to spirits and ghosts and sense and hear the past of objects. We also learn that he is being chased by somebody called Hightower, who he owes money, or somebody he knew owed money, and he is trying to run away from them. Oh, and he also talks to his dead grandmother Zelda, who is a ghost. We are introduced to a variety of characters in this episode, so I'll just cover them all right now. We meet Creek, who seems to be human, Olivia, who I also believe is some sort of human hunter, but I'm not really too sure, Lemuel Bridger, who is a vampire. We are also introduced to a group called the Sons of Lucifer, who seem to be some sort of gang or motorcycle gang. We also meet Fiji, who is some sort of witch, the Reverend, who I'm pretty sure is some sort of were-tiger, and Bobo, who also seems to be human, and Joe, who I'm pretty sure is some sort of fallen angel. Aubrey Hamilton, a woman from the town, shows up dead and only Manfred can talk to her. We find out that Aubrey was previously married to a Sons of Lucifer member before meeting Bobo. Manfred then does a ritual to talk to Aubrey but ends up summoning spirits that he didn't want to. Manfred then helps the sheriffs find Aubrey's murder weapon to stop them from snooping around his house, which is now inhabited by spirits. We also learn that in Midnight the veil between the living and the dead is much thinner than in other places. Also, I'm pretty sure Bobo is hiding something. I mean, there is no place better to hide something than in a cellar with a metal door in the middle of nowhere. The police then come to arrest Bobo for the murder of Audrey because the murder weapon they found belonged to him. And this brings us to my possibly favourite moment of the episode. The entire town comes to Bobo's aid, literally, with shotguns. We then find out that all the spirits that Manfred summoned are now having a house party without his permission. Overall, this was a very good establishing episode and I look forward to seeing more. It introduced us to all the main characters I think we can expect to see more of, and it didn't give too much of the plot away early on. Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 2 Review and Recap. Manfred asks the town for help with the ghosts in his house. The witch and the angel, Fiji and Joe, help him out. In doing so, Aubrey borrows Manfred's body to show him how she was killed. And also, Bobo beat up some Sons of Lucifer members. Joe the angel gives Manfred a ride to the police station where he convinces the sheriff to keep looking for evidence to exonerate Bobo. One of the sheriffs takes a ride to Midnight in the middle of the night and accidentally lets the Reverend out on a full moon. He goes full were-tiger and kills her. The were-tiger attacks Manfred and Creek, but they escape to Manfred's RV where Lemuel and Olivia shoot off the were-tiger. Fiji exorcises the ghost from Manfred's house but misses something. They fight it off and seem to send it back to its own dimension. Manfred, Creek, Olivia and Lemuel find the were-tiger and almost kill it, but the Rev changes back the next morning and is fine. Bobo is later released after the sheriff finds evidence that the Sons of Lucifer killed Aubrey and not Bobo. Fiji can still hear the voice of the ghost or demon they sent back, but apparently they didn't. The other sheriff is now blown up by the Sons of Lucifer for letting Bobo out of prison. Joe the angel reveals a prophecy about Manfred leading an army of some sort against the demons, which seem to be the same demon that was just inhabiting Manfred's house. Overall, this was another solid episode. We learned more about the supporting cast and I believe we learned who or what the main antagonist, at least this season, is gonna be, and what their role will be. But we also learned a lot more about Manfred and where his story as the main character is more than likely going to go. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 3 Recap and Review. Manfred and Creek get together, then Creek gets attacked by a vampire who turns out to be Lemuel's friend Zachariah, who actually turned him into a vampire. We get a little bit of a backstory on Lemuel. Turns out he was a slave who escaped and was turned into a vampire by Zachariah. Lem then returned to his owners and ate them all. We learn that Lemuel is an energy leeching vampire, which means he can kill other vampires. We are also introduced to Pia, who is another old friend of Lem's. Olivia and Manfred look through the bus that the vampires arrived on and find someone they are draining for blood, but it turns out apparently that is all good. The whole town starts getting some weapons ready just in case the vampires don't turn out to be so friendly. Then Manfred finds a dead body and kills his first vampire. In a flashback, we found out how Lem met Zelda, and we find out that she was the one who gave him the ability to kill vampires. He then drove Zachariah and the vampires out of Midnight and told them never to return. Zachariah poisons Lem with blood-laced silver when Lem tells them they cannot stay in Midnight. They then lock him up and try to kill Olivia, but she escapes. Manfred goes to help Creek and her family. Creek's dad starts being a jerk, so Manfred knocks him out and takes him with them in the RV. They go to Manfred's house because they cannot reach the church where all the other people are holed up. Fiji and Bobo come up with a way to kill the vampires, so Manfred lures the vampires together and Joe the Angel kills all the vampires with the sort of artificial sunlight that Fiji and Bobo came up with. Joe thanks Manfred and the episode ends with us learning that there is something supernatural or otherwise coming to Midnight. It could be another vampire, it could be Hightower we saw in the first episode, or it could be something completely different. Overall, this was one of the more boring episodes so far, but I am expecting for the next episodes to be a little bit boring as they slowly bring up and introduce all the main characters fully, such as the first episode that was about Manfred, the second episode was about the Reverend, and this one was about Lemuel. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 4 recap and review. So we find out that some sort of creature is near Midnight and it's luring men to their death and eating them. Manfred is still getting a lot of calls from Hightower, and Bobo finds out that the sheriff was killed by the Sons of Lucifer and promises Fiji he won't do anything about it, and Fiji invites him for dinner. Manfred gets a threatening message from Hightower involving some sort of musical tune, not exactly sure what that's about, but I'm sure we'll find out. And then some woman pays him $5,000 to find her brother, who was the guy who was just eaten by the creature. Another guy shows up in an amazing charger and then gets eaten by the creature that has a lot of teeth. Olivia then goes to assassinate a guy who embezzled money off a bunch of people and then kidnaps a guy that has been watching her. Bobo's house gets torn apart by the Sons of Lucifer, and Manfred finds the creature that has been killing people, and she tries to kill Manfred, but he escapes in time. Fiji gets stood up by Bobo, and then we find out from Lemuel that the creature is a succubus who has the ability to glamour themselves to seduce their prey and can only be killed by dragon's breath. We also find out that Creek's brother Connor followed Manfred earlier and that he does not seem to trust him. We find out that Olivia's father hired the guy to follow her. Fiji comes up with something to remove the succubus's glamour, and Fiji also catches Bobo trying to take on a bunch of Sons of Lucifer members and stops him while the group is looking for the succubus. And I'm also pretty sure that Bobo used to be a Sons of Lucifer member, but not 100% sure on that yet. It was just something that the guy said about betraying his brothers. Creek finds the succubus and removes her glamour, then the succubus runs off and takes Connor. But Manfred kills the succubus and all is sunshine and rainbows in Midnight. We get a bit of backstory on Olivia's terrible childhood after her father left her, then Fiji and Bobo get together at the end. Another decent episode. Normally by now in the season I have either stopped watching or I'm bored out of my mind, but they are developing the story nicely. But we are still really getting to know the characters and learn about their backstories, which isn't a bad thing. I would rather learn about them now than later. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 5 recap and review. We find out straight from the beginning that Hightower has found Manfred and that Manfred is probably going to go meet him. The Sons of Lucifer drive through town and light the pawn shop on fire, but it is okay because they put it out in time. We also find out from Fiji's cat that the Sons of Lucifer abducted Fiji. Manfred goes to the pawn shop to pawn some of his stuff, and Bobo offers him a gun. Lemuel wakes up and decides to go with Bobo to get Fiji back. We find out that Bobo's parents were white supremacists and that he stole most of their guns and money, and that's what the Sons of Lucifer want back for Fiji. Manfred meets with Hightower, and it turns out that Hightower is the name of just one guy, but he uses dark magic, so he has telekinetic powers. Olivia goes with Manfred because Creek asked her to, and we also find out that Manfred and Violet, Hightower's daughter, were engaged. We find out that Zelda and Manfred conned Hightower by promising him that Manfred would marry his daughter so magic could be passed down through the bloodline in his family, but Violet killed herself after Manfred left and didn't go through with the wedding. Bobo shows up to get Fiji back and Lemuel's hiding under the bus. Then Bobo gets beat up and Olivia and Manfred trap Hightower. Then Manfred makes a deal with him that he will let him talk to his daughter and his debt will be forgiven. Fiji finds out Bobo was a white supremacist. Lowry buries Fiji and Bobo in a shipping container. Then Lemuel fights his way through all the Sons of Lucifer and gets them out. Then Bobo kills Larry, blows up the weapons, and they go back to Midnight, and they live happily ever after. No, that's not true. Violet takes over Manfred's body, and it turns out she hates Hightower too, and tries to kill him, but Manfred gets her out of his body, and then Hightower kills himself. Manfred and Krieg clear things up, and then we find out that something is tunneling towards Manfred's house, and it doesn't look friendly, because it killed an armadillo. This was probably one of the worst episodes so far. Although I enjoyed Bobo's story, Hightower was a little, well, anticlimactic. They built up the idea for several episodes just for a reveal like that. I was expecting something much bigger, such as an organization, or something, not something that insignificant. However, I am really starting to like Bobo. In the first episode I didn't like him too much, but his character development is getting really good. Overall, definitely not the best episode so far. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 6 recap and review. To start off the episode, a bunch of teenagers vandalize places all over Midnight, then get chased out by Lemuel, and one of them gets left behind and chased down by some guy in a truck. Fiji has been having dreams about the demon she cast out of Manfred's place, and we find out that the veil between the living and the dead is getting thinner and thinner by the day, and that everyone's thirst and desire for evil things has increased. The Midnighters organize and try to find the girl that has been taken by the guy in the truck. Manfred and Krieg find another girl who has been killed, but it's not the one they're looking for. Manfred gets punched in the face by Krieg's dad, then they find Connor wandering and find out that Connor was hit in the head, but he is fine. Then the Reverend tells everyone that the veil is getting thinner between Hell and Midnight, bringing out the evil in everyone. Lemuel and Manfred finds Krieg's dad near a kidnapped girl who is fine, but they think he might be responsible. Manfred finds out that Connor was actually the one who was killing people and is the one who killed Aubrey, and his dad was protecting him. But Connor and Krieg leave Midnight before Krieg realizes that Connor is the killer. Then Joe tells everyone he is an angel and uses some weird angel powers to save Krieg, and then Lemuel kills Connor. Then the girl who was kidnapped goes home. Joe plays the pronoun game and says they will be coming after him after he used his light to save Krieg. So overall this episode wasn't great. I really thought we were past all of the character development, but apparently I was wrong. I also personally thought that the whole Connor being the killer thing was a bit of a stretch, and a little ridiculous. It would have actually made more sense if it was his dad. Anyway, I did still enjoy this episode to an extent, but we are 6 episodes into the season, and we're still playing pronoun games and still developing characters, which is definitely a little weird. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 7 recap and review. We find out that a millennium ago, Joe fought with another angel named Bowie, who is now coming to Midnight, and she pretty much hates all supernatural beings, including demons, and she is now coming to kill Joe. Krieg goes back to work to keep busy because of the last few days after her brother. Also, Chewie comes back to Midnight even though Joe told him to stay away. Bowie finds the Reverend, and they fight a bit. Then she continues to look for Joe, and we also find out that she and other angels can read minds. Joe and Chewie hide with Olivia and Lemuel. Then most of the mains get called in, and we learn that Chewie is actually a half demon. So a demon and an angel, how about that? We also find out that Olivia doesn't ever want to be changed into a vampire, and at some point she will have to leave Lemuel. Joe tells Manfred that he thinks he is destined to lead an army and seal the veil to hell forever. Krieg finds the Reverend and goes back to the restaurant, but Bowie is there and she is reading everyone's minds to try and find Joe. Bowie then threatens to kill Krieg, and then Joe pretends to surrender. They then try to send Bowie to hell, but it doesn't work. Joe and Bowie fight for a bit, then Chewie goes all demon and kills Bowie. Then she explodes into a bunch of purple fireworks. Then Chewie tries to kill everyone since he has gone full demon, but Joe stops him. Joe and Manfred talk a little more in depth about the whole savior thing. Then Krieg breaks up with Manfred and Manfred leaves Midnight. Then Bobo stays with Fiji to keep her safe from the demon. No idea what he's gonna do though. Overall, I enjoyed this episode a lot more than last week. We learnt a little more about Joe and Chewie and their pasts. Also, Manfred left Midnight. I expect him to probably be convinced to go back by the end of next episode. In fact, I would expect next episode to mostly be about Manfred and his kind of journey to bring him back to Midnight. Or maybe the Midnighters track him down and bring him back. And then hopefully we get into the whole hell opening up thing. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 8 recap and review. So we meet a demon of some sort who is heading to Midnight to make a sacrifice to a demon to bring him out of hell fully. He can also wear other people's faces as masks, Also, Manfred is heading to Vegas, but his RV breaks down and he goes to look for help. His grandmother comes and convinces him to go back to Midnight, and then his grandmother moves on. People start going seriously crazy, trying to kill themselves because the demon is telling them to, because the demon feeds off death. Olivia gives Bobo silver bullets because Lemuel is getting hungrier and the Reverend, a vegetarian, is eating meat. We also get some flashbacks to Manfred when he was a child and when his grandmother died. Manfred gets found wandering by Discount Jack and Hagar, and then the guy tries to take Manfred's face, but Manfred hides in the back of the truck with all the dead bodies. Olivia and Lemuel fight for quite a bit because Lemuel tries to bite Olivia, but Fiji comes up with something to stop the influence from the veil and uses it on everyone, and Lemuel before he almost kills Olivia. Manfred gets back to Midnight and saves Creek so she doesn't kill herself because the demon is telling her to, and the whole town goes to the Faceless Man, and Manfred gets Ghost to kill him. But it doesn't matter because the sacrifice is made and the demon can now probably come through the veil and rise from hell. This was a pretty solid episode overall. We got some flashbacks of Manfred, which I actually really enjoyed. We also finally saw Lem pitted against Olivia, which I knew was going to happen at some point, I just didn't know when. I was also actually hoping that one of them would die in the end, even though I like both of the characters. Other than that, it was a good episode and I can't wait to see the battle for Midnight. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 9 recap and review. Fiji is sleepwalking and almost kills Manfred and Joe because she is dreaming about one of Kolkanar's minions. We also learn from Joe that a shaman sealed the veil once and he could know how to do it again. So Joe and Manfred go to dig up the body, but there is nothing left of it. We also get some backstory on Fiji, and we learn that she went to live with her aunt Mildred in Midnight, then found out that she was a witch, fell in love with some guy and then accidentally killed him because of how strong she was. A massive dust cloud is heading towards Midnight, which is the veil opening. Manfred tells Creek to leave Midnight, but she crashes her car just on the outskirts. All sorts of creatures show up in Midnight, including wraiths, which are spirits who await the arrival of a demon. Manfred convinces everybody to leave Midnight to think of a new plan. Manfred gets stuck and Creek shows up just in time to get him out of town with the others. The dust cloud is still following them, and Fiji tells the group that it is because she is a virgin witch and that makes her much more powerful. Olivia tells Lem that as soon as Fiji is safe, she is leaving Midnight and Lem behind. Also, Manfred and Fiji combined witch and gypsy dark magic to find a way to talk to the shaman. They find a way to, but they have to make a sacrifice. The Reverend volunteers, but the cat wants to see Mildred again, so he does it. But when they do the spell, it takes Manfred's life instead. Manfred talks to the shaman, and the shaman tells him something, but we don't know what it is yet. Then Manfred comes back to life, and Fiji gives herself to Kolkanar's minion, because it is her boyfriend Jeremy that she killed in the flashback. Fiji goes with Jeremy, and in exchange, Kolkanar spares the others. Overall, this was another good episode. I enjoyed the Fiji flashback, however, I do think going with Jeremy to Kolkanar was pretty stupid, but she did what she thought was best. However, there was a lot of character development in this episode, Fiji and the relationship between Lem and Olivia. I am also looking forward to seeing the season finale, and I am curious to see how they deal with Kolkanar, whether he will be defeated or if he will be an enemy in hopefully many future seasons. This is the Midnight Texas Season 1 Episode 10 recap and review. Fiji arrives at midnight and waits for Kolkanar. The group goes to get her, but in the process Olivia gets her and Creek has to drive her to the hospital. It is a full moon, so the Rev isn't going to be too much help because he locks himself up, but first he blesses the weapons to make them able to kill the wraiths. Manfred makes a deal with several demonic spirits to give him the power to kill Kolkanar, but he doesn't have enough, so he makes a deal with another demon that the owner of the object it is attached to considered to be the devil himself. Bobo and Fiji get together, so Kolkanar tries to kill everyone. Joe tries to stop him but fails, then Manfred fights Kolkanar with the power from the apparent devil and kills Kolkanar, or sends him back to hell, one of those. Then Manfred releases all of the demons that were in his body. Lem gives Olivia vampire blood, which doesn't turn her but makes her heal faster, but apparently it will have some side effects. Madonna seems to be talking to Olivia's father, telling him that she will be okay and not to come to midnight, and she will keep an eye on Olivia. At the end, Olivia and Lem get married. Also, I noticed this tombstone, Tiger 1953 to 1969, with the cat on top, probably a friend of the talking cat, but if we have learned anything from the 100, it's that the smallest detail could mean a lot. Creek and Manfred get back together, but then Manfred starts bleeding from his ear and nobody knows. It's probably some ramifications of the whole demon thing, but who knows. Then some woman named Melanie Pratt shows up with a bunch of builders. Apparently she bought the hotel and she plans to make Midnight a tourist destination. So this is the season finale of Midnight Texas. It was a little touch and go there for a minute but did improve as the episode went on. However, I did feel that killing Kolknar was a little easy. It just sort of happened. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of build up to it. I was expecting at least someone to die. Sure, Olivia got hurt. I don't think that was enough though, especially for a hyped up enemy. The ending definitely feels like it's leading to a season 2. I still don't think there is anything out about that, if it's renewed or cancelled. But I will probably make a video about it when it is confirmed or cancelled. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content on Quicktops. Also, if you want to check out my second channel, Quicktops 2, mainly focused on gaming and news, then feel free. And if you want to get a notification every time I upload, feel free to follow me on Twitter or click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. Links, as always, are in the description below. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the future. Bye.